Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of All Aboard StockCharts.com. I'm your host, Chip Anderson. This is the show for new StockCharts users. It's the one where we're trying to help you understand exactly how to use the website, become super efficient with it. So I've got some slides I'm going to go through first, and then we're going to get into some nice demos of exactly what you can do to be super productive on StockCharts.com. Again, I'm your guide, Chip Anderson, founder and president of StockCharts.com. I want to start. Just welcome all the new people who have joined the site or are trying us out on the free trial. Welcome. We're super glad that you're here. And what I'm trying to do is make you comfortable, make you confident using our website, understanding the capabilities that it has. The goal, help you become instantly productive with StockCharts.com. And as I mentioned, it's for newcomers. If you are a existing StockCharts subscriber or you want some more in-depth information, I've got two things to tell you. First off, we're going to be debuting a new show called Deep Dive in 2 weeks. The Deep Dive show is intended for going really deep into each one of the topics I'm going to cover today. I can only briefly cover them in this show. In the Deep Dive show, we'll go into a lot more detail. But also, because you're here, we're doing a very special thing this one time only. After the show's over, so at this will be 2 p.m. Eastern time. When this show is finished, we will be hanging around and doing a 30-minute ad hoc free Q&A. It's Ask Chip. Ask Chip anything you want, and I will try and answer it then. Okay? So until the Deep Dive show gets going, we want to be doing that for all of our existing subscribers. Anyway, all the information that you see on your screen here is available in a PDF. It's at http://stockcharts.com/tv/allaboard.pdf. There's the link right there. And so if you want to get this information down and look at it later, you can do that with this URL right here, tvallaboard.pdf. We are recording this show, and we do rebroadcast this show throughout the week. So if you need that, you can watch for the show to show again. Also, because we're using live stream, you're able to scrub backwards. There's a little VCR control at the bottom of your StockCharts TV window, and you can use that to back up and replay something if I'm talking too fast, or if you miss something, you want to see it again. Keep that in mind. You have that capability. This will be also posted up on our YouTube channel in about an hour after the show is over. Okay. During the show, feel free to send in questions. I've got my good friend Rachel here. Hey, Rach.
Good Saturday morning.
She'll be trying to answer any questions that you send in. There's limitations to what we can answer during the show. Don't forget, we've also got customer support that you can talk to, and I'll be demonstrating that in just a little bit. So first off, what is StockCharts' purpose? Why do we exist? We've been around for about 20 years. Our purpose has not changed. We are trying to help online investors make better investing decisions through the visualization of financial data. Sounds pretty fancy, but it just means we want to draw great charts, allow you to create those charts, and allow you hopefully to make better investing decisions because of those charts. We think the important thing to do is combine our charts and our other tools with great education that we do in our chart school area and great commentary that we do in the articles area as well as in StockCharts TV. So it's the combination of all those three that we're striving for. So let's get into it. I want to show you the site, and I want to talk about the site from the perspective of someone who is new to the site and running our free trial. So first off, let me just take a second and make absolutely sure everyone's clear on the terms of the free trial. We do get questions about this after somebody has signed up. First off, the trial itself is 1 month long. You've got a long period of time to kick all the tires and bang all the doors and figure out all the things that we can do, and then determine if that's something that you want to become a regular subscriber for. If you don't do anything, it's important to understand this. If you don't do anything, we're going to charge you after a month. So you want to make sure that you've made your decision one way or the other before your month is up. Now, we have 3 service levels: Extra, Pro, and Basic. I'm going to show you the differences in them in just a second. But when you start your free trial, you start out as an Extra member. So, and that's the normal, Extra is our most popular service level. But you can, at any point during the trial, you can upgrade and become a Pro member, or you can downgrade and become a Basic member at any point during the trial. And it's free. There's no charge for upgrading or downgrading during your free trial. When the trial is over, so when 1 month is up, we will renew you. We will charge you at the level that you're at that point. So if you've upgraded to a basic member, upgraded to a pro member, then you'll be charged at the pro level. If you've downgraded to a basic member, you'll be charged at the basic level. So let's look a little bit quickly at the different capabilities that each service level has. You can find these in a couple of places. One of the easiest places to find them is StockCharts.com/pricing. And here we have a little video about how you subscribe to StockCharts, but right below that is what I wanted to show you here, the service levels and pricing. If you include our free service, then we've got 4 different levels, but free doesn't really count. We have the 3 levels I mentioned, basic, extra, and pro. The differences between these have a lot to do with how many charts you can store and how you can organize those charts. That's the first key difference. The second key difference is whether or not you can run scans and use our technical scanning engine to find interesting stocks and interesting charts to look at. So if you only need to store a small number of charts and you don't need to run any scans, then the basic level is for you because it gives you one chart list up to 500 charts that you can save into your account, and it doesn't allow you to run the scan engine. The upside of basic, though, is it's less expensive. Basic $14.95 a month, extra $24.95 a month, and pro is $39.95 a month, with a discount if you go for if you sign up for longer periods of time. So those are the important things. The other thing I wanted to point out, though, extra allows you to store 250 chart lists. Each chart list can have up to 500 charts in it. So that's an awful lot of charts. You don't have to store that many, of course. But the point is that you have more than one chart list, meaning that you can categorize your stocks. You can have a portfolio chart list. You can have a watch list chart list. You can have maybe picks from something you've seen on TV, so on and so forth. You can categorize your charts in a wide variety of ways as an extra or pro member. Categorization is harder as a basic member. The other thing is in the difference between extra and pro includes things like you can create much bigger charts, much wider. You can get those charts refreshed much more quickly. You will have even more chart lists. Instead of 250, you'll have 350. And you'll have more scans, more alerts, so on and so forth. So pro is for people that need more. Extra is, we think, kind of the sweet spot that most people will benefit from. Basic is for people that are using us casually. So hopefully that'll help you make a decision. This video is also a great thing that can help you make that decision as well. So that is the quick overview of our service plans. Now, the final thing you need to understand signing up for StockCharts is, in addition to a service plan, you have the option of choosing a data plan. All of our trials come with our free data plan. So you don't pay extra for data when you're using our free trial. And normally, we think for most people, you should not have to pay extra for data, and that's usually the case. However, there is something that you need to take into consider when you're looking at this. If you are especially if you are a quick trader, a day trader, someone who trades frequently, you're going to want to know the difference between our free real-time data and the paid subscription for official real-time data. Our free real-time data comes from an exchange called the BATS exchange, BATS. And the BATS exchange provides really great free real-time data for U.S. stocks. It doesn't provide it for Canadian stocks, unfortunately, but for U.S. stocks it does. But there's an interesting issue. The price data is really good, but the volume data is not. And so you see on this chart right here, for the when the market is open, you can't see this today, but when the market's open, the last 15 minutes of data on a free real-time subscription will be BATS data, and it will not have volume associated with it. That's because the volume is much lower than it should be. After 15 minutes, which is signified by this yellow bar, by this yellow dashed line, after 15 minutes are over, we can then insert the official NYSE and NASDAQ information onto the chart. And at that point, we can add volume data to the chart. So the bottom line is, if volume data is super critical to you and official price data from the NASDAQ or NYSE is super critical to you, then you're going to want to add our official data plan to your service. If it isn't, you'll be fine continuing on with the BATS plan, which is free. The official real-time data costs an additional $9.95 per month. And you can get that for the US, you can get that for Canada, you can get that for the UK and India as well. All of that's, again, explained on the pricing page. I just wanted to quickly show you what the charts are the differences in charts are going to look like. This is what a BATS chart looks like, and it's missing this final 15 minutes of volume data. But if you got official real-time data from the NYSE or NASDAQ, all of this information would be there. It wouldn't be missing. All right, enough of that. It's something that's a little confusing, and I wanted to make sure I explained it quite right. Do we have any questions so far, Rachel?
Actually, no, we don't.
Okay.
I think everybody's just listening intently.
Good. That's fine. No problems. I just want to make sure. What I'm going to do now is get us actually into the site. So this is our homepage, and to get into your account, of course, you're going to use the login link that we see right here. Once you sign up for a free trial, you'll get an email back with a password. Your user ID will be your email address, and it does need to be your official email address that you use on a regular basis. That way we can get in touch with you if there are any issues. There is a Remember Me box right here. You're going to only want to click this if you're using it on your personal computer that you don't share with anybody else. If you are using a computer you do share with other people, please do not click the Remember Me checkbox, obviously. Now, when you log in, you'll be taken to this screen. This is your dashboard, or the members dashboard. It shows a wide variety of information, including access to all the different tools that you need, or that we have. It includes our market overview that gives you a quick sense of what's going on, and it includes a customizable panel over here with some data. There's other stuff lower down too. But let me take you through these first three because it's super important. One of the big things I want to make sure everyone is aware of is that this is a listing of all the tools that we have on StockCharts. And as a member, you have access to all of them. But this list is scrollable. See how I'm scrolling? I'm using my mouse wheel here, and I'm just scrolling inside of the box. So it's more than the first couple of tools that you see, and you can scroll down to get more. We're going to be going over some of these tools today, and others tools we cover on other shows, that kind of thing. The market overview is just a very quick day and a half look at the different exchanges to kind of see what they did. Or were they up? Were they down? Were they sideways? So on and so forth. And we can see here we've got red and green and red and green. So yesterday, Friday, was kind of mixed in this particular case. We can drill down into the charts by clicking on this chart, or we can drill down into the data by clicking on Market Summary. Both of those are really powerful tools. And we're going to be showing them in just a second. The final thing I want to show you right now on the market dashboard, on the members dashboard, is the market movers area over here. And what I wanted to show you is that this particular thing is highly customizable. Right now it's in top 10 mode, and I can choose the Dow, I can choose the S&P 500. So these are the most active stocks on Friday in the S&P 500. I could click over here. Now I'm seeing the stock that went up the largest percentages in the S&P 500, or the stocks that went down by the largest percentages in the S&P 500. I can change that to be the NYSE, and now I'm seeing the most active NYSE stocks. You get the idea, pretty straightforward. There are other things you can do here, though. One of my favorites is the ticker cloud. The ticker cloud shows us what charts are super popular on StockCharts.com right now. So what particular stocks are other StockCharts.com users looking at? And we see GDX, the more that people look at it, the larger the ticker symbol is. So we see GDX and Nugget are popular at the moment, so on and so forth. What I usually do with this is I look for a ticker symbol that I don't recognize, that I haven't seen before. I'm not super on this, but I'm not positive what Soxel is. I can click on that ticker symbol and I can very quickly get a chart and kind of drill down and see what might be going on there. So this is all about what's interesting, what's different, what are other people, or maybe other people looking at something that I'm unaware of. I can check that out here. There are many, many other things that you see here, including other stuff that we'll talk about later. But this particular panel has a whole lot of flexibility is the bottom line. Now, there's more stuff down below that we're going to get to in a little bit. Let's see. I'm going to go, yes. Okay, so the next stop on our tour is what we call the chart bar. It's this big area up here at the top, and it allows you to create charts, any kind of chart for our major charting tools. Most people will just type a ticker symbol in here, and what's really nice is as you start to type the symbol, it will autofill for you and help you find the symbol that you need, which is really useful. Everyone's pretty used to that by now. But normally people use this bar to get to our main tool, which is called a Sharp chart. This is what a Sharp chart looks like. And to get to our main tool is very easy from any page, anywhere. You simply, doesn't matter where you're at, you can simply just type in the symbol you want, press enter, and now you're seeing your default Sharp chart of that symbol. Well, let's go back for a second before we get too deep into Sharp charts. Again, there are other tools that are available. So let's say, for instance, you're interested in a seasonality tool of a particular symbol, and don't worry if you don't know what that is, but just the point is that there's a different tool. I can select that tool, and then I can type a symbol, and now I'm seeing that tool instead of Sharp charts. So that's what I wanted to point out. Now, where are we going next? Let's see. Any questions yet, Rach?
Yes. I'm sorry. Yes, there are. Stefan wants to know, are the prices charts for European stock exchanges possible?
European stock exchanges. So we have the London exchange right now. That's the only European exchange that we have. We would love to add Eurostocks in Germany and a couple of the other exchanges there, but currently we're unable to do that. Hopefully it'll come in the future. Anything else?
No, not right now. Thank you.
Okay. Now, we've gone over the basics of navigating the site. I want to get into now the different charting tools. So normally, most people start with our Sharp Charts tool. I'm not going to do that. This might surprise some of you. Instead, I'm going to show you what I think is the most overlooked tool on the website. It's the tool that I think is where most people should start, especially if you're new to charting. After you master this tool, then all the other tools will make a lot more sense to you. That's my opinion. It's called Gallery View, and you can get to it in a couple of ways. The easiest way to get to it, honestly, is just to click on the yellow chart here in the middle of the member's dashboard. This will take you to what we call a gallery view, in this case, of the Dow. And the ticker symbol for the Dow is $INDU for the Dow Industrials. What Gallery View is it's a collection of 4 charts that are very, very well-defined and very, very thought through. John Murphy and I worked together to set all these up many, many years ago, that give you a long-term, a short-term, and a very short-term view of the stock, and can very quickly give you an overview. How is this stock doing? So it starts with the shortest term view that we have, an intraday view, and then goes to a daily view of the stock, and then goes to a weekly view of the stock. It finally finishes up with what we call a point and figure view. I will talk about the point and figure view. It's on some other show. Let's start with the long-term view, the weekly view of the Dow. And we can look at any ticker symbol we want to. I'm just going to go ahead and look at the Dow in this case. So what we see here is a Sharp chart, a weekly Sharp chart of the Dow, going back to almost the beginning of 2017. And we can see the Dow was in a big uptrend until the beginning of 2018. It then had a kind of a triangle pattern form here soon after that through the middle of July. Another uptrend push until October, followed by some more indecision and a big fall right before the end of 2018. It recovered from that fall and moved higher in a couple of waves. It has recently bounced off this blue line. This blue line is the 40-week moving average for the Dow. 40 weeks is roughly 200 days, and the 200-day moving average is a significant technical indicator, and so that's what this blue line essentially represents. So we see the Dow struggling over the course of the past couple of years to stay above that 200-day or 40-week moving average. It has failed in a couple of cases, but usually comes back and usually stays above it. So that's generally a good sign for the Dow. So that's how you kind of interpret this very quick area. This is called the price plot area. It's where all the price action happens for the main ticker symbol. The main ticker symbol in this chart is $INDU. Above and below the price plot area are 2 indicator panels. We have one down at the bottom, which is a relative strength indicator. And up at the top, we have one called the PPO, which is a momentum indicator. So let's start with the relative strength indicator. It's down here. We see this is showing us a line that is calculated by taking the price of the Dow and dividing it by the P500. That generates what's called the relative strength line. So we can, in the relative strength line, the actual values aren't important. Instead, what's important is the line moving up or is the line moving down? If the line's moving up, it means that the first symbol, in this case the Dow, is outperforming the second symbol. So during, say, June through the end of 2018, the Dow was outperforming the S&P 500. But then the S&P 500 came back, and then the Dow came back. Then they kind of tied. And recently, I would say that the S&P has been outperforming the Dow. That's what we can kind of take away from this last couple of parts of this chart, although it's an argument could be made things are moving sideways right now. So that's the relative strength story of the Dow versus the S&P 500. It is true, both of these are kind of large cap stocks. So often you'll do a relative strength comparison between things that are very different. In this case, these things are very similar, and I'm not entirely sure of how useful that is. Up above is a technical indicator called the PPO. It is a momentum indicator. It's showing us, is the stock moving higher, and is it moving higher strongly? Or is it starting to lose steam? Is it starting to run out of momentum? We put momentum in quotes. It's not exactly the same as a physical momentum in situation. But momentum is very important to technical analysts. And so what we see here, the question is the stock moving higher, and is it gaining and it's moving higher? And this particular move here is a great example. It's almost a parabolic move in the sense that it started moving higher linearly here, and then it started moving at an even higher angle and moving up at a higher angle and a higher angle until it kind of got to the peak, and then it kind of fell back. On this technical indicator, we can see it's well above zero, and it stayed above zero and started moving even higher until there was the big break. Then it moved lower. At this point, it changed over, moved below zero, then it moved back above zero, and currently it's been above zero for a while. The PPO, again, is a momentum indicator, and there's a whole series of articles in our chart school area about how to interpret it. The bottom line is, here's one chart, and it's given me really good context for understanding what's going on with the Dow. Let's zoom in. And by moving up in our gallery view, we zoom in. Here is the daily chart of the Dow. Same exact thing, only now we're looking at it from from roughly February until now of this year. So we're only, if we go back down, we're looking at this piece of the chart. This little piece here is now what we've zoomed into. And so same kind of situation. We now have two lines that we can look at. One is the 200-day moving average. That's this red one. And as I indicated, that's what the Dow's been bouncing off of recently. The other is the 50-day moving average, which is another important moving average for technical analysis. And the Dow has touched it a couple of times, but we see here that actually the 50-day moving average was almost acting as resistance, while the 200-day moving average was acting as support. So that's why the prices might have been bouncing back and forth between there for a while. Anyway, we're above both the 200 and the 50 at this point and moving higher, so that's generally a good thing. We can see momentum is going up, also generally a good thing. Down at the bottom, we have the CMF, the Chaikin money flow, and we can see that that's also positive, meaning that generally money is flowing into index. Finally, we can zoom in and see the last couple of days of trading for the Dow, and we can see a 10-minute and a 20-minute moving average, and we can see the price interactions with those things. On the last day, the Dow essentially moved sideways to slightly lower, although I guess it finished above where it closed the previous day. This blue line here represents the closing price on the previous day. So the Dow gapped up on the open and then essentially moved sideways for most of the day, maybe moving slightly lower by the end of the day compared to where it was after it opened. Anyway, the bottom line is we now have a really good understanding of this particular index in its technicals. And we can type any symbol we want to here to get another gallery view of it. There's IBM. I can very quickly see, is it going up or is it going down or is it going sideways? In this case, it's sideways to down. I can very quickly kind of get that sense. J&J, you can type, again, any symbol that you want. Now, if you're a member, you can also do this, which is really cool. Let's do INTC, Intel, and compare it to Microsoft. Whoops. So by typing two ticker symbols separated by a comma, I can now see two gallery views. This is something that almost nobody knows about. This is a feature that very few people know about on our website. So here I'm giving you a big, deep tip for getting the most out of our site. You can compare these charts side by side. Really, really useful. All right, that's everything I'm going to talk about with gallery view at this point. You can customize gallery view. You can change the indicators and other things that you want. If you want to, you can click here to learn how to do that. All right. Any questions on gallery view, Rach?
Not right now, thank you.
All right, just checking. So the key part of the StockCharts experience is our SharpCharts charting tool. SharpCharts is our old style charting tool. What it does is it generates an image, a PNG image, just like any other picture that you've ever seen on the internet. That's what we create. You can take this picture and you can cut and paste it. You can drag and drop it. You can stick it into Word documents. You can put it on your own website, whatever you need to do, because it's just an image. To create the image, you're going to set a couple of different things. There are some settings up above the chart. There's some links down below the chart. And then there are three collections of settings below the chart: the chart attributes, the overlays, and the indicators. I'm going to talk about each of these areas now, just to make sure that you're fully aware of all the capabilities. Above the chart, we've put what we think are the fairly commonly used settings that people generally play with when they just want to look at a whole collection of different ticker symbols. Starting with, of course, the ticker symbol itself. If you type a ticker symbol in here, you will just see the chart with the exact same settings that the previous chart had. Let me get rid of that. There we go. And so you can just change, if you like the settings that you have here and you just want to see a different stock with it, you will type here. This is the main ticker symbol for the chart, and it's the ticker symbol that will be the price data for which will be here in the main price plot area. So in this case, Boeing. The period is the number of, is what each candle, each bar or candle on the chart represents. Does it represent a day? Does it represent a week? Does it represent a month? So on and so forth. We have all the way from 1 minute to monthly on our charts. And the idea here is that you'll make changes to whatever you need, and then usually you'll click the update button, and that will cause the change to take effect immediately. There are two other things I want to mention to you right now. They're useful. This one, refresh, is useful only when the market's open. It's not useful right now. In fact, if I turn it on, it'll immediately turn right back off because the market is closed. This is how you can keep your charts up to date if you're watching them while during market hours. You can select a particular refresh rate, and then the chart will refresh at that rate with the latest and greatest data that you have access to. The next thing I want to show you is the inspect option. If you click inspect, then you have the ability to mouse over the chart, and you can look at individual data points. You can look at individual indicator values, so on and so forth. You can also click and drag. In this case, I'm dragging horizontally, and I can use that to count the number of bars that are between the indexes. 64 periods in this case, 69, 70. You can see that number on the left side of the chart as I'm dragging, 76, 77, so on and so forth. You can also measure stuff vertically. If I click and drag vertically, there we go. Now I'm measuring percent change on the chart. So there's a 30% change there. Here's a 20% change, so on and so forth. So you can do a lot of measuring with the inspector. The inspector doesn't actually affect the chart. It just allows you to inspect the chart. All right. Down below the chart, there are a series of links. These links are super important. Several of them are really useful. The first one, Annotate, allows you to draw on the chart. I'll show you that in a minute. This is where you print. It's easier to do printing here than it is to do it from the browser menu. If you wish to send the chart to a friend, you can use the share menu. You can also use that to put it into Facebook and Twitter. This one is possibly, though, even more valuable, is permalink. If you need to create a URL for the chart that you can send to other people, you're going to want to click permalink first and copy this link. Do not copy the link at the top of the browser window. This link here doesn't contain enough information for us to draw the chart you're looking at. Instead, you want to click permalink and then send this link instead. That's got all the information we need. You can look at past data, their instructions, and if you have any problems at all, you can contact customer support using the link right here. There's other ways to contact customer support too, but that's one of the easiest. Continuing on, down below, we'll talk about chart styles later. Down below, we have chart attributes. Chart attributes represents things that are the entirety of the chart, everything about the chart, things that affect the entire chart. For instance, and an easy one would be color scheme. So default is pretty boring. I always like Murphy, is the one that John Murphy uses. That's a different color scheme, or we can select maybe a crazier one like solar. I like solar too. There we go. So on and so forth. Experiment with the color schemes, find the one you like. But maybe before you get to, color schemes are interesting, but something that's more useful is the range. Range has to do with where does the chart start and where does it stop. The most valuable range, I think, is a range called fill the chart, but there are other ones. You can specify 1 day, 1 month, 10 years, all these different times, or you can specify the starting date and the ending date, or even do year to date. So I'll just select year to date, I'll hit update, and here's that same chart starting at the beginning of 2019 and going until now. And so lots and lots of capabilities. Fill the chart is all about saying, I want to make sure that my candles or my bars all look really good. And I'm really only concerned about the last right edge of the chart. I'm not super concerned about where the chart starts. So with fill the chart, you get to specify how big do I want each bar? Do I want a gap between each bar? Do I want any extra bars on the right side? Let's say I want 10. I hit update. And now my bars are thicker. I've got a little gap between them, and I've got 10 space for 10 extra bars. This is usually used for annotating, drawing, and projecting into the future. If you need to do that, you can do that with extra bars. But that's what fill the chart is all about. This looks great. I'm not sure when the chart's going to start. The chart just starts whenever we run out of space. So we draw the chart going backwards until we run out of space. But we make sure that each one of the bars, each one of the candles looks really good. On the other hand, if I do care about where the chart starts and I really want to see a 10-year chart, and I don't want any extra bars, let's just go ahead and get rid of that. Then I hit update. So now what's happened is we absolutely are showing you 10 years of data on this chart, but you notice, of course, that many of the bars are really scrunched. It's hard to see the individual bars because there's not enough space for us to draw them. But maybe that's okay. Maybe you don't really care about seeing the individual bars. What's more important is you want to see all 10 years. So that's the trade-off you make. If you care to see really good, well-defined bars, then you're going to use fill the chart. If you want to see specific durations or specific start and end periods, you can use these other choices. Finally, you can actually specify your own beginning and end date. And when you do select that, select start end, we give you one more little trick. This is what we call our Ranger tool. Not many people know about it. It's only available when you do select start end. And what it allows you to do is to interactively create the beginning and ending of the chart. Each time I drag this little slider, then my chart changes. And what's really nice is I can even, let's see, I can get this chart down a little bit. There we go. And now I can click here and go ahead one bar at a time. Each time I'm clicking on this right bar, I'm moving forward in this case, 1 day at a time. And clicking here, I move backwards 1 day at a time. Not many people know about the Ranger. It's another special feature I want to show you guys. Make sure you're aware of. Anyway, fill the chart's usually where most people stay, and it's a very, very useful place to be. There are lots of other things we can do. All the different chart types are here, including maybe my favorite, the Elder Impulse System. Is a series of bars. Green is good, red is bad, and blue is neutral. You can read more about the specifics of this system in our chart school area. You can turn on and off log scale. You can turn on and off candle coloring. You can change the grid. Whole lot of different capabilities here You can experiment with those later. Overlays and indicators, just real quickly, these are the technical things that appear on the chart, the other lines besides the price data that appear on the chart. The lines that appear on top of the price bars are called overlays, and they are on the same scale as the price data. Lines that appear above or below the price plot area, these are indicators. We call them indicators, and that's because they are usually plotted on a different scale. Their scale is not the same as the price of the stock. It's something completely different, and so you want them in a different space so that you can have a different scale available to you. So in this case, we've got two overlays on this chart, as I mentioned, the simple moving average 50, the simple moving average of 200, and we have two indicators, one called the RSI and one called the MACD. We can add more, and in fact, as members, you can add up to 25. And if you add, you only see 3 initially, but if you add an additional one, let's put in the 100-day moving average, then a fourth one opens up. And that will continue on until you have added up to 25 of these things. So I'm just going to go crazy here and just add a couple more real quick. And now we see I've got lots of lines all over my chart, but these are how you add overlays. Same thing happens with indicators. You can add additional indicators, up to 25 of them. As you need, more space will open up. All right, so real quickly, that's how you customize the SharpCharts. I encourage you to click on instructions to get even more information on how this page works. Any questions at this point? You guys are a quiet bunch today. Last week, they were pestering me like crazy, but today, that's fine. That's good. One last thing before we leave the SharpCharts workbench. We need to talk about our chart notes annotation tool. Before we do that, let me clear all this stuff out. I want to make room for all my annotations. Clear out all these additional things. Now I've got this nice, pretty clean chart. I'm going to hit annotate. And when I do that, now my annotation palette appears above and beside the chart. And this allows me to draw text and lines on my chart and do other kinds of what they call line studies. I can draw trend lines, just click and drag to draw a trend line. I can draw a horizontal trend line perfectly by holding down the control key or the alt key. And now the line will be perfectly horizontal. I can draw vertical lines as well. That's because I'm currently using what they call the trend line tool. I can use some of these other tools. One of my favorite line tools is called the auto support resistance tool. It's just this horizontal line that I can drag up and down, but as I drag it, it will change color. If the stock is above, the line will be green. If the stock is below, the line will be red. And that's because often an area where support happened before, like we see here, the price has bounced off of this level several times. Often that becomes a level of resistance later, and that's what we see here. It became resistance and the prices went lower again. That's a very common phenomenon in technical analysis, and so this auto support resistance tool helps you discover those places. Really nice. You can add text just here, Fred, and you're going to hit Control Enter to get out of that, and now we have Fred. You can add lots and lots of text. You can add lots of shapes. You can change all their colors, change their widths, so on and so forth. There's a lot more information about chart notes in our annotation or in our documentation area as well. Now, when you save a chart that you've annotated, you have the option as a member of saving it into a chart list. Chart list is just a big folder of all the charts you've created. Some of them might be annotated, some of them might not. But it's definitely useful for annotated charts because what happens is now I've saved this chart with its annotations. And now I don't need to do anything. Each day when I come back and look at this chart, there will be additional information added to it, of course, but all the annotations will still be there and they'll still be in their right place. We automatically maintain the position, the size, and the information that you put in with your annotations are automatically maintained in all of your saved charts. In addition, now that chart is available to me to get to here in these drop downs above. This drop down lets me choose from chart lists. I could have up to 250. Right now I just have one, so it's not very exciting. But as I add more, this will become more useful. And in this one chart list that I have called default, I have one chart. So this is also not super useful yet, But you can see as I build up more charts inside of this, this is going to be much more valuable to us, these drop downs here. The ability to save a chart, the ability to update a chart, the ability to delete a chart, or the ability to view your charts together on one big page. That's what these links are all about. Now, the final thing I want to say for SharpCharts is the chart styles. Chart styles are all the information about a chart except the ticker symbol. And the ticker symbol is, what that means is that you can take a style and apply it to any ticker symbol. So let's say I really like this particular layout of this chart, not the annotations and not the ticker symbol, but I really like the colors, and I like this set of the elder impulse bars, and oh, what the heck, let's even add a 50-day moving average to this. Let's say I really like that. I can save that as a chart style. In fact, I can save that as if I really like it, I'm going to save it as my default chart style. The default chart style is special. It's the style that is used anytime I create a new chart. Now, let's think back to earlier in this presentation. I was showing you how you could just simply type a ticker symbol and get a chart. So if I type again IBM and pressed enter, remember we saw a chart, but before we saw a pretty boring chart with the standard default settings. I've now changed and updated those settings, and now I see the chart with my settings. And that happened because I clicked right here. I got everything the way I liked, and then I clicked Save as Default. And when I clicked right here, that made this particular colors, these particular bars, these particular indicators, my default style. And now anytime I go anywhere on the site and I click on any ticker symbol, like Microsoft, I'm going to see those same settings. So if you take anything away from this presentation, the most important way you can speed up your use of StockCharts, find a chart style that you really like with a set of indicators you love and the colors and everything else right. I recommend daily with fill the chart as the range, but that's up to you. And once you get it the way you absolutely like it, click Save as Default. And when you do that, then all the charts you create will have those same settings. You will save a ton of time, make your life much, much easier. All right, that's everything I have to say about SharpCharts. Any questions?
Yes, we do. John asks, I see events under overlays shows dividend X dates. What about earnings report dates?
We do not have earnings report dates. We focus on what's happened in the past, the technicals that have happened in the past, and earnings reporting dates are generally in the future, and we don't show those on the charts. Maybe at some point in the future, we'll have to see. Okay, we have talked about, coming back to my presentation outline, we've talked about the workbench and all these different areas. Talked about saving charts into a chart list. Let's talk about viewing chart lists briefly here. So you can view chart lists in a couple of different ways. One of the really nice ways is from the dashboard, from the members dashboard. Your chart lists are at the bottom of the dashboard. You can either scroll down or you can just simply click here. We'll take you down and you'll see all the different lists that you have. Again, initially you're not going to have many, but you can always add new ones. So I'm going to click Add New. I'm going to type in My Portfolio, and this is a very common thing that people should do. Going to hit Create New List. Now here's the My Portfolio list. Currently it's really boring. There's nothing in it. Okay, but what I can do is I can click Add Many, and now I can type in all the stocks that are in my portfolio. And I'm just typing some random ones here. Okay, separate them by commas, type as many as you have, press Add Charts. So now I have 4 charts in my chart list. I'm currently looking at this in Edit View, which allows me to make changes to the list in bulk. Not very useful though in terms of discovering how the stocks are doing. The most important view for a list is 10 per page, I think. In 10 per page, I get to see each one of the charts up to 10 at a time. Notice that all 4 of my ticker symbols are here, and the charts are all created automatically, and they were created using that default style that I set up. So again, getting your default style set up will save you a ton of work. I do not have to go in and customize each one of these charts. They were automatically created with the settings that I generally prefer. So that's really nice. I can click on any of these, and now I see the chart in the workbench. I can annotate it, draw a line here, hit close, save those changes. I can then go back, view all, to my 10 per page, and now my annotated version of the chart is here in 10 per page. So the ability to save these charts into a list and then organize them and categorize them as you annotate them, super, super useful. That is my quick overview of chart lists. There's a lot more, again, in our support areas. I want to make sure I have time to demonstrate those to you. Okay, let's talk for half a second about finding great buying opportunities that are on the thing, that are on our site. I've talked about Ticker Cloud already. Do you remember Ticker Cloud? It was over here. There you go. And what I didn't talk about, though, was some of our summaries. In Members Tools, over here on the right, if you scroll down a little further, you're going to get to Reports and Analysis Tools. We have Market Summary, which gives you an overview of all the major indexes. But something more interesting, I think, is Sector Summary. In Sector Summary, you can, in 3 clicks, discover some of the hottest stocks in the hottest sectors in the hottest industries right now. Here's what Sector Summary looks like right out of the box. And it's showing us for the different sectors that are out there, which one had the best performance, right here, the best percent change yesterday, Friday in this case. Well, that's fine, but I'm a longer term kind of person. This is pretty common. I would think you'd want to change this out to let's go with 1 month. So for the past month, how have these sectors been doing? And we see that for the past month, the financial sector has been doing the best. Okay. In 3 clicks, let's figure out what the best stock here is. I'm going to click on Financial Sector Fund. Boom. I'm now seeing all the industries, all the smaller pieces of the financial sector, again, on a 1-month time frame. And I see of all of these, the one that did the best is asset managers, the Dow Jones US AG index. I'm going to click on that. And we've done the work here. For all the stocks that make up that industry, we have them listed here. And it turns out they've all done very well, but it turns out that Wynn's Finance Holdings was the best. So I click on that, and now I see a chart of Wynn's. And I'm doing this live without a net, folks. So we see in this case, all right, it wasn't doing very well, but it had a huge day on Friday. So it definitely had a big uptick on Friday. I'm going to call a foul on that and just say that was a fluke. So maybe this one isn't really the one I want to bet the farm on. Let's go see what the second one is in this case. Okay, so the second one is a much better scenario. This one, you can see for the past month has been in a very strong uptrend, and it's gone from a low, almost a yearly low, up to almost a yearly high in the course of the past month. So that's a really nice and interesting story, Virtus Investment Partners. And so that's a stock I might want to check out. The bottom line is what I did. Let's go back and review what I did. I was here on my members dashboard, clicked on your dashboard. I went down to Sector Summary. I changed it from intraday to 1 month. You could use 3 months as well. I clicked on the top one. And then I found an interesting case, but I didn't want that one too much. I found another interesting case right below that. So that's how you can very quickly find some interesting stocks to look at. We have a very similar situation with our scooters. So there's a report here below Sector Summary. There's a report called the Scooter Report. SCTR stands for StockCharts Technical Ranking, and we call them scooters for short. The StockChart Technical Ranking is a number between 0 and 100 that we, StockCharts.com, assign to each stock to give you a sense of how its overall technical situation is compared to all the other stocks in its same category. So what we can see right now is in the case of large cap stocks, we think Target is one of the best stocks out there. We've given Target right now a 99.9 scooter ranking value. And let's look at this chart to see if we agree. So that's a very nice chart. It had a big gap up, obviously, in the middle of August. That has contributed greatly to its ranking. Now, it may be, though, that we're not a fan of gaps. Let's see if there's another stock that's a little more, so Western Digital is a little more calm in its recent rise. It's been rising since the middle of June. and is now well above its 50-day moving average and moving higher. That might be a stock that we consider to be a safer pick because it doesn't have that big gap story going on like Target did. The point is, our sector summary, looking at these top stocks, these are the stocks that have charts that are going to be really interesting for you. They've been doing well for quite some time, and they'll probably continue to do well. No guarantees, but you can watch that as part of this sector thing. You can look at it for large caps. You can look at it for mid caps. You can look at it for ETFs. You can look at it for some of the foreign stocks as well. So I really like the Scooter report too. I'm already running out of time, aren't I? Rachel, anything else?
Yeah, we have just a few questions. Jerry would like to know, do candle glance charts update, or is it necessary to refresh as needed?
So candle glance, let's talk about candle glance. Thank you, Jerry. Good lead in. It's another really, really useful tool that we have that I like a lot called candle glance. Let me show you a couple of cool ways to get to it. Remember on the members dashboard, we had the top 10 initially. Before we had the ticker cloud, we had the top 10. So here are the top 10 most active Dow stocks. And right below that, there's a list of each of the individual stocks, and we can hover over that to see a chart. Or we can click right below this on candle glance, this link here. Very few people know about this one. Click this link. Candle glance charts are little mini charts that we create, one per ticker symbol. They have a predefined format. They have a predefined size. They're intended to give you an overview of the stock and how it's doing. To answer Jerry's question directly, they do not update automatically. You have to refresh the page. You can simply just press the refresh on your browser button to get the latest and greatest update on Candle Glance. But Candle Glance gives you a great way to compare these stocks. So here are the top 10 stocks in terms of market activity for Friday. And we can see some of them have some very strong up stories like JP Morgan did very well. Cisco seems to be kind of trying to bounce back, so on and so forth. Some of them have more interesting stories. Apple had a big down day after its announcement earlier in the week. It was down 1.94% on Monday. So these are, Candle Glance is a great way to compare lots of stocks. And you can type in any list of tickers you want to compare anything that you want. You can also go to a chart list. Remember our chart list, my portfolio? I can view this as Candle Glance. And now those 4 symbols that I typed in, I get to compare them in this Candle Glance. And if I had 20 or 30 or 40 symbols, you can see how I'd have a lot of charts here, and that'd be really easy to compare them. So Candle Glance is, again, our mini charts. It's just a quick and easy way to do things. I'll also mention, notice as I hover, as I move my mouse over these things, a little trash can appears. That trash can is dangerous. It's a quick and easy way to delete a chart that you've saved. You don't want to click on it unless you're absolutely sure that's the chart you want to delete. Anyway, so hopefully that answers that question. So let me quickly show you how to get more help because I'm running out of time. There are 3 areas of our site that can give you a lot of help. First off is our Chart School area. Chart School is, the link is here. Chart School is a big, huge area of articles about technical analysis and technical analysis indicators in general. They're not necessarily stock chart specific. You can use the information in Chart School with any technical tool, but they certainly will help you as a StockCharts member too. So if you need to know what does a MACD indicator do, or what does a moving average mean when it crosses over another moving average, or what is a Candle Glance chart actually about? All of that information is covered here in Chart School. You can search it here, or you can simply browse through things. We've got a glossary. Here's all the information about technical indicators and overlays that we have, all the different kinds of charts and how you analyze them, so on and so forth. There's a ton of technical information inside of Chart School. Think of it as the Wikipedia for technical analysis. Now, in addition to Chart School, we have a huge collection of articles that are specific to StockCharts.com. They're located here under Help. This is what we call our support center. Click on Help up here in the upper right corner, and you'll see the support center. And now you've got basically our documentation. So this is how do you use our particular tools. There's the member dashboard information, navigating the website, so on and so forth. Chart notes, SharpCharts, all of the tools that I was introducing you to are covered here. And you can get more and more information about it. Also about your subscription, maintaining your account, FAQs, so on and so forth. So the final thing I wanted, two other things I want to mention. If you have a question, you can contact our support team. The support team is here. You can click on help, and then you click on the big orange button, contact our support team, and you get to fill in your information and send it off to us. That would be great. We usually get back to people quickly. We try to get back to everybody within 24 hours. Another thing you can do is you can click on the little magnifying glass here on the right, and then you can search the site for whatever it is that you want. So if I need more information on SharpCharts, let's just say, I can click here, type it in, hit go, and now immediately find the SharpCharts support article. And that's going to take me to the documentation on SharpCharts very, very quickly. So this magnifying glass, super helpful too. Now, the last thing I'll leave you with, because I'm out of time, when you're logged in, you will see your name here in the upper right corner of the screen. If you do not see your name up there, it means you're not logged in. Another clue as to whether or not you're logged in or not will be if you see advertising on the site. If you start to see advertising, especially on the SharpCharts workbench, that's a clue that you're probably not logged in. So always check in the upper right corner to make sure you see your name. That will mean that you're logged in, and then you have access to all of the features that you deserve as a member. But anyway, when you see your name, you can click on your name, and there's a menu of additional information that you can use. Now, many of these are important, but this one is what I want to call your attention to, the Your Account link. The Your Account link is super important because it's what helps you change your account. In other words, what you're paying for, what you subscribe to, it allows you to make those things like your password, your user ID. If you wanted to get rid of the BATS plan, which is what most people have here in standard, and you wanted to add, let's say, the official real-time data, you would do that by clicking on Manage Data Plans. If you wanted to change from being an extra member to being a basic member, save some money, you can do that by clicking Change Service Level. If you want your auto-renew to stop happening, or you want to renew for a year instead of a month, you can do that here at the auto-renew preferences. So on and so forth. And then finally, if you're done with StockCharts for whatever reason, you don't need us anymore, you can always click Cancel Your Account. The button is right here at the very bottom. Please don't do that. That would make us sad, but we realize sometimes it happens. And absolutely, if you're no longer needing StockCharts for whatever reason, you can click Cancel Your Account right there. No muss, no fuss. So with that, I'm going to ask one more time for questions, and I'm going to quickly rack my brain to see if I ever got anything.
Okay, I do have a question from Dan in the chat room. He would like to know where the drop down is again for the refresh frequency on SharpCharts.
Thank you, Dan. Very good question. So let's go back there. We want to get to SharpCharts. So what I'm going to do is just come here to the chart bar and type in a ticker symbol. Now, boom, I'm back at this is the SharpCharts workbench again. This is our main microscope for really zooming in on a chart and fully understanding it. This is the page you'll do that with. And what the question was about was, how do I get this to automatically refresh? And that is done with this drop down right above the chart. Above and to the right of the chart is refresh. 15, 30, and 60 are the choices that an extra and basic member get. A pro user will also get a choice of 5 seconds. Now remember, that's just the automatic refresh. You can always, so let's say that let's go to a 1 minute. Typically people who refresh really are looking at very, very small time frames. So let's say we're looking at a 1 minute chart and pretend that the market's open here. We can also just hit update at any point, and then we will get the most up-to-date data as of that mouse click for the chart. You don't have to wait until, if we had 15 seconds on and we saw the chart, we don't have to wait another 15 seconds to see the most up-to-date thing. We can always just click update. So with that, I think I'm going to have to call an end to this session. Again, welcome to StockCharts, those of you that are new. Hopefully this will help you kind of get along the path. Finally, support@stockcharts.com is your friend. You can always send us email. Thanks, everybody.